Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the kitchen. We're doing this in reverse. So I'm giving you the finished product up front, and so we're going to put the ending at the beginning. And the reason why is because this is real time. So today is Sunday, daylight savings time day. Everybody's groggy, whatever, but Erin and I wanted to share, and Erin's on the camera as always.
Of course.
I wanted to share this process with you of how we explore things in the kitchen, all right? And this is the finished product that you're gonna see. Now, this has been in the refrigerator. We pulled it out and it's cold, and if you watch to the end of the video, you'll know why. I didn't stay up to finish this off. So today, the day after we finish this, I've made some notes, and what I would do differently. And I approach the kitchen as a combination of science and art, okay? And it's this beautiful combination. We can combine the science of how heat transfers into meat, what it does to the protein structures of meat, what it does to the connective tissue structures of meat over time, how salt affects, there's so much. It's so beautiful. And what I really enjoy and what Erin and I both love is applying the science to food. And what you're going to see after this is how we go about that. And it's one of our experiments, and just wanted to share that with you today. So enjoy a gorgeous day. The snow is going to melt. It's going to warm up. And yeah, hope you enjoy. Take care. All right, I think we're ready to go. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the kitchen. Say hello, Erin on the camera.
Hey.
I got a little raspy voice, getting over something. I'm going to do something I've never done before, and that is to invite you along to follow one of my experiments. This is something I've never done before. This is what I do a lot of before we make recipes and share them with you folks. We do it, we know it works, and we know it's great. This is something that I really don't know how this is going to turn out, okay? But what I'm doing is I'm assembling principles and techniques that I know will work, but I'm adding some slight variations to it to see if I can accomplish a result that I'm going for. And the result that I'm going for is this. The reason why it's so bright in here is because it just snowed 4 inches, okay? And there's snow on the ground, and my barbecue outside, I don't want to be out there. I don't want to be watching it for 4 hours. I don't want to be paying attention, traipsing in and out of the house. So I'm going to try to recreate some of the smoky flavor on one of these pork shoulder roasts, okay? This is a pork shoulder roast that we pull the copa steak out of the middle of it, and then we section this down into about 3.5, 4.5 pound rolled roasts that work a lot better for a lot of folks, because not many people like having that big 8, 9, 10, 11 pound piece of meat. It's hard to work with something. It takes a long time. So I'm working with one of these pieces of meat, and here's what I'm trying to accomplish here. I want to see if I can bring some of that smoky flavor and texture from the barbecue into the house, okay? And I know for certain I'm not going to accomplish it, all right? But I'm going to try to get there. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with some principles, okay? This piece of meat has to cook low and slow. We have to have some moisture in it, okay? Now I'm going to try to get some smoky flavor by brushing on some of this liquid smoke to begin with. See that?
Yeah.
I'm going to brush that liquid smoke onto the surface of this meat. get it nice and even covered there. It smells amazing, actually. It smells quite ridiculous. And then the second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring in some smoky flavor through a seasoning, and that's smoked paprika, all right? So we're going to start on the flavor component by adding this liquid smoke, and it's not artificial. The way they make this is quite cool, but I don't know if it's going to get the flavor that I'm looking for penetrating into the meat. I don't know. The second thing, so we're looking for the smoky flavor, right? We want that smoky flavor to penetrate into the meat. The next thing we want is a mouthfeel. We want that nice crispy end, you know, that kind of almost burnt, almost beautiful amazingness that pulls off that piece of pork, and you got that nice piece of fat on the inside, but that nice crispy, smoky piece loaded with flavor on the outside. So we're going to try to accomplish a texture at the same time. So while I'm doing this, the texture, I know for a fact how to do it on my barbecue, okay? You know, you use, one more thing about smoky flavor is I know that smoke travels with moisture on the moisture particles, but we don't have smoke. So I am, however, going to use a water pen. So I'm digressing because you can tell I don't know where I'm at, but I know where I'm going. So I've got this brushed really well with all that liquid smoke. The next thing I'm going to do, first thing is you always dry your meat off. You always make sure it's dry. Now this rub that I'm using is very simple. It's real heavy on the paprika, okay? Super heavy on paprika. And no, I didn't buy it. I make all my own rubs, custom for every piece of meat that I do. I have kind of my go-tos for chicken and pork and beef. Beef is usually just salt and pepper. But to get this smoky flavor, I've got real heavy on that smoked paprika. And you can see that the liquid from that liquid smoke is soaking in this rub. And I'm gonna coat this all around, and then I'm gonna roll that baby around in here, okay? Get a really nice coating on that. So we're gonna try to achieve some of that, like, you know, infamous bark, if you will. Getting those, you know, crispy-ish, nice morsels that everybody loves to taste. And I think I'm pretty good right there. Now, as far as getting, here, I'm gonna get the temperature on, get this set up.
What temp are you doing it?
Hang on. Okay. So the same thing is true with my cooker. Is the key to getting that perfect blend of crust, bark, whatever you want to call it, and that tender juicy is time and temperature, okay? So what I'm gonna do to make sure this cooks evenly is I always make sure there's proper airflow around this. Whenever you're doing a big piece of meat, you always want proper airflow around it. Now, time and temperature, okay? Because this is, I'm gonna figure on a total cook time of about 20 minutes per pound, okay? Just to gauge myself. So if I'm at four
and a half, right?
Call it, I'm gonna go with 5 pounds. So I'm gonna go for 100 minutes, 2 hours to get up to temperature, but I'm not gonna do that. I wanna cook this So I know it's going to be at that temperature for a while. I'm going to start out at 250 degrees, and I'm going to see, actually no, I'm going to start out at 225. And here's why. The collagen that's in this, okay, these are tough pieces of meat. They either need braised, which braising is a lot easier to master. You know, you got the liquid, you just turn it on. It's almost impossible to screw that up. But it's super easy to screw this up because we can raise the temperature too fast, okay? Because the collagen, the tough part of this meat, needs to break down into...
It needs to like melt almost.
Into...
Gelatin.
Yay! It needs to melt into gelatin, okay? So that transformation takes place between 170 and ish to 190 degrees, thereabouts, 200 degrees, in that range. And the time that this piece of meat spends in that range is super important, okay? So you can't just bring it up to 200 degrees, which is your done temperature. That's when you pull it out and let it rest. You can't just bring it up there like that. It has to stay in that 170 to 200 degree range for a long period of time in order for all of that collagen to break down and turn into the gelatin. And that's what gives us that amazing, juicy, tender flavor. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna experiment. I'm gonna go at 225 for 2 hours, okay? And I'm just gonna watch the way this temperature climbs up. As with everything, you always, where am I at in the center? Go in this way. That's how I gauge this. I put my finger in there. So that's where it's at. Come in, that's putting me in the center. I'm not using my wireless probe just because I'm cooking in the house. So one last thing is I don't want to dry it out. So when I put this in there, I'm gonna pour water into this tray. Now we're up to temperature. I'm gonna put water in this tray and I'm gonna pay attention to that water so this cooks in a nice moist heat. Doing the same thing I would do on a barbecue, having that water pan underneath to make sure that moist heat, we don't wanna dry this out. So I'm gonna do 225 and I'm gonna watch it for about 2 hours and see, well, let's just see where it's at right now. It's gonna go in cold. Yeah, it's been sitting out all morning because we were at the farm. It's at 52 degrees right now, so we'll see what it looks like over the next 2 hours and how that's climbing up. I want that climb to be nice and slow and steady. For somebody like me, I mark them down on a piece of paper and I chart the graph to make sure that we're slow and steady and not going like this, but that's just me. All right, everybody. All right, centered up. And I'm gonna go ahead and get some water as I leave the oven wide open. It's 225 degrees, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Why didn't I put the water in to begin with? Because on that long, flat thing, I'd have spilled it everywhere. And I'm gonna fill that baby up, man. Look at that. These little ditties are really handy, these silicone. You bought those a while ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
They're really handy. Nice thing about this is we don't have a whole lot going on today, so this is what I do when we don't have a ton of work happening. I'm gonna keep putting that in there until it's nice and full. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's getting there.
All right. I don't want to overfill it, but where are we at? There we go.
Is that
All
it?
right. Yeah, and I went down. You know, I started thinking at 250, but I'm gonna go to 225 and really keep the temperature gradient nice and low, low and slow. We'll see what happens. We'll see you all in a bit. Is it recording? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, it is 3:30, so we got 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. I'm at 5 hours now, okay? This is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Now, I'm not going to open this, but I'm going to just show you. Go ahead. Let me see. Here. So, it's looking good. All right, I'm not going to pull it out, but... whoop,
Oh, steam.
just fogged up. There we go. It's if I'm touching it, it's like you can see it's starting to get juicy. Now, it is. There we go. I have to say that it's smelling pretty good. All right, and that flavor that I just tasted is. It's kind of nice, actually.
Pretty little smoky.
Yeah, it's nowhere like I can do on my barbecue outside. But here's an important thing that I want to talk about, and this is going to happen with this is known in barbecue. So, like I said, when I'm doing these experiments, I write down the time and I write down the temperature. I started out at 50 degrees, and, you know, we go up pretty quick, and in between, you know, every half hour I was taking it, and then I kind of got into doing some other stuff. But what you can see is we had some big jumps here in that time frame. So in this half hour we jumped 22 degrees, in this half hour we jumped 20 degrees, and then in this hour we jumped 27 degrees. Now what's happened is at 2:45 I'm at 161, and at 3:30 I'm at 165. So what's happening, this is what's known as the stall, okay? And what happens is that meat, and this is very important, as I'm watching this, the moisture inside of the meat is now, you're beginning to, it's evaporative cooling, okay? The moisture inside the meat is coming out, and it's carrying that energy outside of the meat. So the temperature, it's going to stay in this 160 to 165, 170 range. Now it's still at 165, and it's going to hang out there for a while. What you don't want to do, and what I'm not going to do, is I'm not going to turn the heat up, or I'm not going to do anything like that. What's happening is the moisture is beginning to evaporate. It's helping to cool that down, and then it'll start to pick back up once that moisture is gone. So it's going to keep it from burning and drying out by my water pan down there. And also what's interesting is that water pan is getting the drippings and stuff from the piece of meat, and then that's kind of recirculating around there. So when you open this up, it smells amazing. Now, I am not expecting to get the same flavor that I would on my barbecue, but I'm going to tell you what, it's close enough for me to make me not go out and cook in the snow. I don't want to do it. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on this, and then I'll see how it goes. We're in a stall right now. I think I might go out and get a bottle of sake and some sushi. What do you say, baby?
All right.
So the next video might be a little
No
bit...
sake for me, but the sushi sounds great.
Yeah, I think I might eat some sushi and drink some sake. Yeah, I look forward to the next video. 8.5 hours. All right, everybody, it is 7 p.m. We started this at 10:30. Here's my little,
chart.
Here's my little temperature chart starting at 10:30, 52 degrees. and we're at 7 p.m. It's 183 degrees. So what's interesting here is at 2:45, this is what's crazy. At 2:45, we hit 161 degrees, right? Now you come all the way down to, call it 5 o'clock, we're still at 168 degrees. At 5 o'clock, turned it up to 250 degrees because I started to notice I wanted to get some more of that crispiness on the outside of the skin. I wanted to develop that bark, right? So 5:30, 6:30, 7 o'clock, we're at 183. I ain't gonna lie. So I woke up at 3:30 this morning, and I wake up at between 3:30 and 4 a.m. every day. No alarm. I had some sushi, right?
Now you're gonna have a mouthful of sushi.
It's the one
Don't talk
thing,
with your mouth full.
Stop it. It's the one thing that I do. And I'm almost through that bottle of sake. So, and I'm at 184 degrees. And it's 7 o'clock. And
We go to bed at 8.
this is a night of experimenting. I'm not supposed to be filming this for audience.
Except for the dogs.
But
Lucy. Sorry. They're hoping
here's
to
what
get
I'm
a
gonna do.
taste.
I'm going to tell you what. This is happening. This is happening, I'd have to say, better than I had anticipated, all right? The amount of time that I spend watching this is almost nothing, all right? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, because I've been thinking about this, is once I get up to about, call it another 10 degrees, which is about 195-ish degrees, which is going to start happening quick because that evaporative cooling has slowed down, and now I'm really cooking the fat. Remember, I talked about that time of the collagen breaking down into gelatin. We wanted to spend a lot of time in that range of that collagen to gelatin temperature range. We've been there for a long time, so that means it's happening. So that means that this is going to start to just turn into pull apart amazingness. Come here, and I'm just gonna, here, I'll take this and just give you a look-see. All right. And I have to say that, you know, you can see that it's starting to shape up nicely, and the smell in the air is phenomenal. So what I'm gonna do is,
Don't talk with your mouth full. Ugh.
I'm gonna do this at about 195 degrees. About 10 degrees from now, I am going to mix up some barbecue sauce with a little bit more of that liquid smoke, okay? I'm gonna pull that out, and I'm gonna brush that with barbecue sauce and that liquid smoke, and I'm gonna allow that last 10 degrees to cook with that, to really tack up that sauce and get more of that smoky flavor sauce into it. Now, the real question is whether or not that flavor is going to penetrate any of the meat, and it's going to turn out to be anything remotely close to a barbecue outside. My feeling is it's not, but I can tell you this, it smells really good inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. But by the time that rolls around, I'm going to be so stinking tired.
You're not gonna care.
I'm not going to care, and I don't know, we'll see. Let's just put it this way, I'm not going to be in the mood to make a video. I'm going to be ready for bed, and I'm going to be in my undies, and nobody wants to see that. So I'll give you an update in the morning. Peace, everybody.
That's looking beautiful.
Okay. Well, it's 8 o'clock, and it's been an hour since last time, and it's not done. It's still at 190 degrees, but
Let's see it.
I had to give it a try. Just cut into it, and I really wanted to give it a taste. I have to tell you. So first off, the smoky flavor it's not gonna be anything comparable to what I can do in my barbecue. So I'm not able to achieve that. But the flavor in general is out of this world. I am very happy with this. I'll do this again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set a timer on that because I'm going to bed, man. We got chores early in the morning.
Yeah.
And the flavor's great. But this is spending the right amount of time in that range to turn that collagen into gelatin, and it's all coming together. So I'm gonna set a timer for about another little bit, hit that range, it'll cool overnight, all that'll come together, I'll pull it apart, it'll be incredible. So this will make amazing, I mean, it's great. It's super good, but it doesn't have that really deep smoky flavor.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I mean, there's nothing like smoking over the barbecue, but
Maybe a close second.
well, I wouldn't even say that, but it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, would I serve this to people? Not as barbecue, right? I wouldn't call this barbecue, but man, I would call this really good. Even at 185 degrees, and it's got some time to go, the texture will come together, but the flavors were great. I would say this was a successful experiment. I'm gonna regroup, see what I'll do differently next time. Maybe I'll brush it with a little bit more liquid smoke in between to soak in some more of that flavor. I don't know, but this was a fun experiment.
Sit. 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 Good girl.